I have made a lifelong wager, a wager that can only be undone with some very uncomfortable procedures that I don't foresee myself doing. This Saturday at UFC Paris, Ciryl Gane fights Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa's first main event, and he's a sizable underdog. But my wager here is that if Tai Tuivasa wins, I will be getting this tattooed on my body. Now, some may ask, why would you make that wager? Why would you do it with Tai Tuivasa? Well, Tai Tuivasa's cashed multiple tickets for me, and some of the best memories I have watching UFC is seeing Tai Tuivasa big old swing some big old bombs at people and doing some shoeys after. So hopefully the shoeys, got the shirt on here, hopefully the shoeys will be flowing Saturday and I can cash in that wager. That would be awesome. UFC Paris this weekend, we're going to look to bounce back from a couple bad betting weeks. I see a couple spots that could produce some money, some value all across the board. Some dogs I see that could come through. A lot of these lines I think are juiced a little bit too much, and I'll be looking to capitalize on those. Make sure to go follow me on TikTok at HeyJivePicks. That's where I announced the lifelong wager I just said. Looking forward to pushing more content out on there, trying to up my production value as well. So be greatly appreciated to get a follow, likes, comments, all about that. Hopefully looking to get to 1,000 followers on there so I can go live. I'm also looking into going live on either Twitch or YouTube. I think YouTube got to have like 100 subscribers, so I got to get there first. But going live for these fight nights and, talking to you guys throughout them, all that good stuff, I think it'd be fun. So leave a comment if you'd be interested in that as well. Something that I've been looking into, something I've been wanting to do. So if anyone is interested, that would push me to do it in the near future. We will get right into it. Try not to keep this video too long, though. Starting with the main event, Ciryl Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. Gane, 32 years old, 6 feet 4 inches tall, 81-inch reach, trained out of MMA Factory in Paris. So he's going to be the home favorite here. He's coming off the title fight loss to Francis Ngannou in December. In my opinion, he won the first 2 rounds of those and then just completely shit the bed. I did back Gane in that fight, so that one stung a little bit considering, I thought he won the first 2 rounds and then had a lot of bad IQ moments in that fight as well. I think he could have very easily won that fight. Ngannou didn't have his knee pretty much, so not a good look there. Gane's very fast, very quick on his feet, very light on his feet, moves like a middleweight pretty much. For a guy that's 6'4", 240 pounds, something like that. Very fast, very athletic. He's got 4 KOs on his record, 3 submission wins. He's never been finished either. As for Tai Tuivasa, 29 years old, 6 feet 2 inches tall, 75-inch reach, so giving up 6 inches on the reach. 5 straight knockout wins. Kind of questionable competition, though. If we look at his 5 on in, his last fight was against Derek Lewis. That is his best win, hands down. And then Augusto Sakai, Greg Hardy, Harry Hunsucker, and Stefan Struve. 3 of those guys, Hardy, Hunsucker, and Struve. Well, Hardy and Struve are out of the UFC. Hunsucker probably should be. And Augusto Sakai has now lost 4 straight fights. So 4 out of his last 5 wins are against pretty shitty opponents. So not the best look there. But he's gotten it done, very easily. So he's getting the wins when he should be. Pretty much a brawler. He loves to get in brawls, throw heavy leg kicks as well. I think that's a place that he can get an advantage with Ciryl Gane, and if he can chop those legs early, slow down the movement, then he can get in there with his hands. He can get taken down pretty easily and controlled on the ground. That is some place that I don't see it going well for Tai Tuivasa if it hits the ground. Gane's a pretty good grappler, very strong. Tuivasa's 14 KOs, been knocked out once, and he's been submitted once. As I said, Ciryl Gane pretty heavy favorite in this one, sitting at minus 575. Tuivasa comes back at plus 425. Honestly, there's no value in Ciryl Gane at minus 575. I'm probably going to sprinkle a little bit on Tai Tuivasa to win because it's heavyweights. Elite level heavyweights, yes, but it's still heavyweights, and Ty's got a great chin. You only really question that I would have is his cardio. He's never been in a 5-rounder. And also, if this fight hits the ground, he could get subbed. So maybe I would keep an eye on Gane by sub. But I will be sprinkling a little bit on Tuivasa to win. I'm guessing his KO number is probably not far off the plus 425. But I'm probably just gonna wait because I would see this line moving further in Gane's favor. So I'm gonna wait on that till probably like Friday, Saturday, to put that bet in. Moving on, Robert Whittaker, Marvin Vettori. Whittaker, 31 years old, 6 feet tall, 73.5 inch reach. Coming off the title fight, loss to Israel Adesanya. Sorry about that. It's funny because both of these fighters, Whittaker and Vettori, for Whittaker, his only losses have come to Izzy in the past 8 years. He's only lost to Izzy. And Marvin Vettori, he's only lost to Izzy in the past 5 years. So both of these fighters, their only losses are coming to Izzy in the past 5 for Vettori and 8 for Whittaker. Kind of nuts. Whittaker, very good all around. As for Vettori, 28 years old, 6 feet tall, 74 inch reach. Training out of King's MMA, coming off the win over Paulo Costa. He looks to wrestle and grind on you. Looks to, get grimy decision wins, basically. He looks to stay on the offense. And Whittaker sitting at minus 240 right now, Vettori plus 200. I feel like this should be a lot closer of a fight, especially in a 3-rounder. In a 5-rounder, I would lean more towards Whittaker just based on his experience. And, he kind of gets better as the fight goes on with his striking, his reads. For Vettori, if he just comes out and, pushes his wrestling, pushes his grinding style, I think he wins this fight. Whittaker's got 10 KOs on his record, 5 submission wins. Vettori's never been finished. I don't see this one ending in a finish either. I see this one ending with Vettori by decision. And I have placed a bet on that, plus 350 odds on that right now. I put 3/4 of a unit on it. That's just how I see this one playing out. I know a lot of people are high on Whittaker. I think Vettori has more to prove right now. He's going to be fighting in Europe for the first time since 2016 for him. His home turf, but because he's from Italy. So give me Marvin Vettori for the sake of the channel. I forgot to say in the first one, but give me Ciryl Gane for the sake of the channel. Although I am only seeing any value on Tai Tuivasa in that fight. And I'm going to take the underdog here in Marvin Vettori for the picks, and I have the play on him to win by decision. I just think that line's too far off. I think it should be closer to, maybe Whittaker minus 150, but minus 240, I just don't see that. Moving on, though, Alicio, Kiriko, and Roman Capilov. This fight is dead even right now. Kiriko, 32 years old, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach, 4-6 in the UFC, coming off the loss to Abdulrazak Alhassan by a head kick 17 seconds in. So did not last too long in that one. Italy guy as well. He looks to stay at range. I mean, he's pretty long, not super long, but he tries to use his length. So looks to stay at like kicking range. Will push a little bit of wrestling if the opportunity presents itself. As for Capilov, 31 years old, 6 feet inches tall, 75-inch reach. So both guys pretty much the same stature. 0-2 in the UFC, coming off the loss to Albert Duraev, where he pretty much got his face beaten in halfway through the fight and was just kind of holding on. Carl Robinson was his other fight in the UFC. He lost that one in the third round by a rear naked choke. I think he was, in my opinion, he was kind of winning both fights until he wasn't. So I would lean more towards Capilov in this one. He's got 7 KOs. He's been subbed once. To Kiriko, 6 KOs and 4 subs. I could see Capilov knocking him out, but I would lean more towards him by decision. I'm going to take Capilov for the sake of the channel, and I also have a unit play on him, money line at -105. So just a little under the pick'em. So give me Capilov in that one. Not too exciting of a fight, especially for a main card, but interested to see how Capilov looks, I guess. But moving on. Nazarene Haqparast and John Mcdessie. This one I'm also not really thrown off, but I just think this line's a little bit off. Haqparast, 27 years old, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 72-inch reach. He's 5-4 in the UFC. He's coming off 2 straight losses. There was like a good amount of hype around him for a while. I don't really see it when I watch him fight. He's just doesn't throw a ton of volume. He mainly looks to counter. He does have 9 KOs on his record. But, I mean, his two losses are to Bobby Green and Dan Hooker. Those were his last 2 fights. No slouches there. But he got kind of very much outclassed by Bobby Green. And pretty much the same with Dan Hooker. He's just not on a very good skid right now. For John Mcdessie, 37 years old, absolute veteran, 5 feet 8 inches tall, 68-inch reach, coming off the split decision win over Ignacio Bahamondes, which is very impressive. Bahamondes is one of the better, fighters coming up in the weight division. Very tall, 6'3" is Bahamondes, I believe. But interesting fact about Mcdessie, man, his debut came in 2010 on the George St. Pierre versus John Koscheck main event card, and on that card, Stefan Struve was the co-main event versus Sean McCorkle. And the fight before that was Jim Miller beating Charles Oliveira. So that's a funny one to look back on and see how far things have come. Yeah. So 2010 was his debut. He's been around for a while. It doesn't fight that often, but I think he's very live here as a dog. He's sitting at +180 right now. He loves to fight behind his jab, and really jabbed Ignacio Bahamondes' face off in that fight. If he can fight behind his jab, really, that's pretty much how Nazarene lost against Bobby Green. He was just getting out jabbed, out volumed pretty much. He's 10 years older than Nazarene, so I don't necessarily like betting older fighters, but in this spot at the dog money, Nazarene is at -220, coming off 2 losses. Mcdessie coming off the win against a really good opponent. I just think the value's there for Mcdessie. I did put a half unit on him to win by decision. If he does win, I do believe it's going to be by decision. So not a ton of value on there, but the most realistic outcome, in my opinion. So give me John Mcdessie for the sake of the channel as well. Just not very impressed with Hack Pressed as of late. And overall, I just don't think he has, anything that special. Mcdessie, veteran, it's probably going to come to play. Hasn't fought in over a year. So give me Mcdessie, the dog there. Moving on to the fight between William Gomis and Jarno Aarons. I think I said that right. But for Gomis, 25 years old, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach, making his UFC debut. He throws a lot of naked kicks, but most of his strikes are pretty naked. He doesn't throw a lot in combination. He likes to clinch pretty often. As for Aarons, 27 years old, 5 feet 8 or 5 feet 11 inches tall, just fought on August 6th, so less than a month ago. He did win that fight in Brave CF 61 against Alisher Abdullayev, who was 7-2. Got the win there via decision. Honestly, both fighters are not very impressive. Aarons likes to stay at range and doesn't throw a ton of volume either. Kind of looks to not necessarily counter, but pinpoint his shots more than just throw with volume. Pretty decent offensive grappler. Defensively, not the best at takedown defense, where I do think Gomis will probably look to take the fight here. He's probably going to look to clinch, probably going to look to take it to the ground and just stay in control of him and look for a decision win. Gomis does have 6 KO wins and 1 by sub. Aarons, 5 submission wins and 3 KOs. This one seems like it should be closer to an even money fight. Gomis is minus 220 right now. Aarons is plus 180. I will keep my eye on Aarons. Both fighters are making their UFC debut. Gomis is going to have the home field advantage there, being from France. But I'll take Gomis for the sake of the channel, but I may be looking to sprinkle something on Jarno Aarons as a dog. I think the value is just, it's there. Maybe if the line continues to move, be more enticing, but give me Gomis for the sake of the channel. Moving on, Charles Jourdain and Nathaniel Wood. This one should be very interesting. Jourdain, 26 years old, 5 feet 9 inches tall, 69-inch reach, coming off the loss to Shane Burgos July 16th. I thought he should have won that one. Burgos really did not do much damage at all. I know he had his back for a good amount of that fight, but really didn't threaten him too much. And then in that third round, very easily could have been a 10-8 for Jourdain. It was weird, man. I thought he won. And then Shane Burgos wins, and now he's in PFL. So Jourdain's a pretty wild fighter, though. 8 KO wins, 4 submission wins, 1 submission loss. He's going to come to scrap. He always comes to scrap. He's a dog, man. I mean, that's a guy that you can trust with your money, that he's going to go out and give it his all for sure. For Nathaniel Wood, 29 years old, 5'6", 69-inch reach as well. Coming off the win over Charles Rosa, July 23rd. So both fighters fought very recently. He loves his heavy leg kicks. Very fast, crisp striker as well. 9 KO wins, 5 submission wins. He's been knocked out twice and submitted twice. So this one could very easily end in a finish. But something tells me that it's not. Something tells me it's going to go to decision, and it's probably going to be a bit of a war. I honestly am not sure. This one's really tough to pick a winner. I'm going to go with Nathaniel Wood for the sake of the channel. Just based on that, he's going to be closer to home, and he's a little bit more technical. But man, it's a tough fight to pick, and the odds do reflect that. If Jourdain was a dog, I would love to back him as a dog, but I don't know how much I would want to do that for him as a favorite. But for the sake of the channel, give me Nathaniel Wood. Moving on, Dustin Stolfus versus, hopefully I say this right, Abusapayan Magomedov. Stolfus, 30 years old, 6 feet tall, 75-inch reach, 1-3 in the UFC. Not looking too great. His only win is over Dwight Grant, and that was in his last fight. Although his losses are to pretty tough opponents. Gerald Meerschaert looks pretty good as of late. Adolfo Vieira, one of the best grapplers the world has ever seen. He lost via rear naked choke in that one. Kyle Dawkins, another loss in his debut. So 3 pretty solid fighters. And then gets the win over Dwight Grant back on July 16th against Dwight Grant. Not very impressive with that one, though. Dwight Grant's not very good. As for Magomedov, 31 years old, 6'1", 78-inch reach, so a little bit bigger. Making his UFC debut. However, he has been getting scheduled for fights for about a year. Back in December of 2021, he was scheduled to fight Meerschaert. Magomedov withdrew. Scheduled to fight Aliskab Krzyziev, and then he withdrew from that, and then scheduled to fight Miradov at UFC Paris, and then Miradov withdrew, so now he gets Dustin Stolfish. I don't know how you say it. But he's had quite a bit of fights. 24-4-1. He hasn't fought since 2012 or 2010, not 2010, 2020. Sorry. But he did fight in PFL. He went 3-1-1. He's got 13 KOs on his record, 6 submission wins. I'm pretty high. Not necessarily super high on Magomedov here, but I'm very low on Dustin Stolfish. Even his fight with Dwight Grant was like just a grimy win. I don't think he's that talented. I don't see much of a future for him in the UFC. For Magomedov, we're not really sure yet. So give me Magomedov. I also have him in a parlay with the next fighter, which I guess leads into the next fight. So give me Magomedov for the sake of the channel, and then I have him parlayed with Michael Figlak, who is a part of the next fight we'll be talking about. Michael Figlak versus Fares Ziam. Ziam's 25 years old, 6'1" tall, 75-inch reach, 2-2 in the UFC, coming off the loss to Terrence McKinney, where he got submitted in the first round. Very long for the weight class. He likes to stay at kicking range, use his length. Hates being pressured. 4 KO wins, 5 submission wins, 3 submission losses. As for Figlak, 26 years old, 5'10", fighting in Cage Warriors for quite some time now. Almost 2 years. Well, I guess, yeah, damn near 2 years. Undefeated, 8-0. Loves to pressure his opponents. As soon as the fight starts, he's in their face, pushing them up against the cage, making them fight him, which I really like. I like when fighters are aggressive and they want to. I mean, who isn't? I mean, they want to put the pressure on the opponent to fight them. 4 KO wins, 0 submission wins for Figlak. I have him parlayed with Magomedov for plus 107 odds, and I have a unit and a half on that. Figlak is minus 200, and Ziam plus 170. I don't know if I said it or not, but Magomedov's minus 260, and Stolfish is plus 210 in the other fight. So Figlak minus 200, Magomedov minus 260 gets me I don't know if that was the exact ones that when I put the bet in, but I got plus 107 odds for them parlayed together. I think Figlak's, if he can pressure Ziam and make him fight him, make him be uncomfortable, because that's how Ziam gets when he is pressured like that. As we pretty much saw in his fight against Terrence McKinney. McKinney comes out hot, as he always does. Gets right in the face, kind of not really catches a kick, but Ziam tries to throw a kick. They get in a scramble. McKinney's on top of him and ultimately chokes him out not too long after that. So if Figlak can stay in the face of Ziam, not allow him to be comfortable, I think Figlak gets the job done pretty easily. Moving on, Nazarene Imava versus Joaquin Buckley. This one should be very interesting as well. I do see some value on Buckley as a dog here, but for Imava, 26 years old, 6 feet 3 inches tall, 75-inch reach, training out at MMA Factory in Paris with Paris Gane, 3-1 in the UFC. Some decent wins here. Edmund Shabazian's pretty good. Ian Heinisch now slouch. His only loss in the UFC is to Phil Hawes. So pretty decent there. He was scheduled to fight Kelvin Gastelum back in April, and then Imava had some visa issues, so he had to pull out of that one. He fights very much like Paris Gane on the feet. Very, bouncy, light on his feet, but he can definitely take it to the ground as well. He's good all around. As for Joaquin Buckley, 28 years old, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 76 inches reach. So he's going to get an inch reach advantage, but he's given up, 5 inches in height? 5-2 in the UFC. He's won 3 straight. Very good athlete. His wins are over Antonio Arroyo, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, and then the win over Albert Duraev, which Duraev got his eye swollen shut. He was a plus 90 dog there, was Joaquin Buckley. So he does come through as a dog quite often. He does look to throw heavy. And if you're going to bet dogs, you want somebody with finishing power, or finishing ability, I should say. For the sake of the channel, I'm going to take Nazarene Imavov. But I will keep an eye on Buckley because I know this line has moved. I know Buckley was like plus 180 like a week ago when I looked, and now he's plus 220. If it keeps moving that way and Buckley gets to like plus, 230, 240, even 250, like it's got to be worth a sprinkle there. Maybe keep an eye on him by KO. Looking at it right now, his KO line is plus 325, so that's a little bit better. He could catch him with something. Let's see. Let's look at Imavov. He has not been knocked out. He's been submitted once. Imavov. I'm going to keep an eye on it. It is pretty early in the week. It's only Monday. So a lot of these lines for props haven't come out yet, but keep an eye on that one. Give me Imavov for the sake of the channel. We will move on. Keep it moving. Benoit Santani and Gabriel Miranda. Benoit Santani coming off the submission win against Nicholas Stolce. I believe that's how you say it. 26 years old, 5 feet 11 inches tall, 73 inches reach. 1-1 in the UFC. This guy is an absolute warrior. I'm pretty sure he's like a special forces something. But that loss to Alicio Zaleski was a hard one to watch. I watched it the other day, and the commentary was like calling for the fight to stop, which very easily should have been stopped. Saint Denis took quite the beating. He's got a little bit porous defense on the feet. He looks to wrestle. But overall, this guy is going to fight for your money like, his life depends on it. He's got 1 KO win, 8 submission wins. He looks to push the wrestling. I think that's his game plan, and most of his his fights. As for Gabriel Miranda, 32 years old, 5 feet 11 inches tall, making his UFC debut, training out of MMA Masters in Florida with the likes of Kobe Covington. He looks to get it to the ground. His ground game's very good. He's got 15 submission wins. He's never been submitted. So this one could be a really good grappling exchange between the two. Both fighters like to be on the ground. This line is a little interesting as well. Santani is minus 280 and Miranda's plus 220. If for them being both strong in the grappling, I don't really like this line for Benoit Santani. I think it should be a little closer. Miranda, 15 submission wins. So 15 of his 16 wins come by submission. It's not out yet, but I'm going to keep an eye on Miranda by submission as a prop. I'm going to take Santani for the sake of the channel, but I'm going to keep an eye on Miranda by submission. And maybe if this line keeps going, just take him straight up. But I think the only value there is on Miranda. Santani at minus 280, his only win is against Stolce, who was really not good. And then the loss against Zaleski looked really bad for him. Zaleski's very good, but the loss did not look good for him. We'll keep it moving, though. Khalid, Taha, Christian, Quinones. This one, not the highest level either. Taha, 29 years old, 5 feet 5 inches tall, 69-inch reach, 1-3 in the UFC. He loves to throw his hard leg kicks. His losses are to Nad Niramani, Ioni Barcelos, and Sergey Morozov. Morozov and Barcelos are pretty solid, so can't be too mad about that. But 3-1 in the UFC, not the best look. As for Quinones, 26 years old, 5 feet 7 inches tall, 70-inch reach, making his UFC debut. Fought on the Dana White Contender Series, got a contract, and not super impressive. My comparison for him is like a very, very poor man's Brandon Moreno as far as his style goes. Kind of shoots from the hip, likes to pump a jab. He's capable on the ground. 8 KO wins, 3 submission wins. He's been finished 3 times. For Taha, he can very well get controlled in the clinch and on the ground. I think that's probably the best path to victory for Quinones is to take it to the ground or stay in the clinch. 8 KO wins for Taha, 3 submission wins, 1 submission loss. Taha sitting at minus 135, Quinones plus 115. I hate betting on fighters coming off the Contender Series, but this is pretty low level. I wouldn't really want to back Taha as a favorite. Quinones, I'm going to take Quinones for the sake of the channel. Probably not going to get there from a betting perspective, though, because it is pretty low level. And it's damn near a pick 'em. Pretty much should be a pick 'em, so not a lot of value. Moving on to the last fight, the opener on the card. I think the biggest spot for me. I think this is undoubtedly the biggest spot on this card that I see the values just like way off. The line's just way off, and the values completely there. Eileen Perez versus Stephanie Edgar. This one, Perez, 27 years old, 5 feet 5 inches tall, 66-inch reach, making her UFC debut. She is 7-1, but her only loss is because she threw illegal knees in round 3 of a fight that she was winning. So take that as it is. She loves to push her wrestling. 4 KO wins, 1 submission win. So out of her 7 wins, she's finished 5. So she's got finishing ability. As for Stephanie Edgar, 34 years old, 5 feet 6 inches tall, 68-inch reach. Coming off the armbar loss to Bueno Silva not too long ago. That was like a month ago or less. She will has judo background. Everyone knows this. She's gonna look to judo throw you, get on top, ground and pound. She's got decent stand up. She's 34 years old, so 7-year age difference there. Edgar's sitting at minus 340 right now. Perez plus 270. This fight is going to be at featherweight, so 145. And Edgar's usually a 135er. Same with Eileen and Perez, but I think with just the short notice for Edgar, they're going to fight at 145. At least that's what Tapology is telling me. But Edgar lost to, or her only wins in the UFC are Shanna Young and Jessica Rose Clark. And both of those fighters are not looking too good right now. Her losses are to Miranda Bueno Silva, which was less than a month ago, and then a loss to Tracy Cortez, which she lost 30-27 on all the judges' scorecards. Tracy Cortez is a flyweight. This fight was at bantamweight, but she's now a flyweight. And Tracy Cortez controlled her the entire fight on the ground and won that very easily. For Perez, she loves to take it to the ground. She's got really good ground and pound, really good top pressure. She's a thick girl too. Like 135 is probably not the easiest for her to make. So at 145, she's probably going to be a little more energized. For Stephanie Edgar, I just don't see how you can validate a minus 340 price tag on her. Perez is very capable. I have a unit and a half on her at plus 235 odds, and the line is moving in Stephanie Edgar's direction as we're speaking. I can get her for plus 250 right now. That's just insane value to me. I will definitely keep my eye open on Perez inside the distance as well. And I might even look to add more on her in this dog spot. I just don't see how she's minus 340. Her UFC wins are not good. She got controlled by a career 125er on the ground. She's going to be facing a stronger Eileen Perez. And Perez is coming in on her debut. She's got something to prove. She's been training in camp for a while. Edgar coming off the weird loss to Bueno Silva. Sign me up. Sign me up for Eileen Perez. Give me her straight up for the channel as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm huge on Eileen Perez this week, which is, if you look at women's MMA, I don't think, very few people should be a minus 340 or higher favorite. Women's MMA is a lot closer in skill, and like anyone can win on any given night. The finishing ability is not always there for these fighters. So a lot of the times you're going to go into decision. A lot of times it's about who can control the other person. So women's MMA dogs, like, they come through. And in this situation, I see all the signs pointing to Eileen Perez, and yet she's a plus 270 underdog. Sign me up, man. Sign me up for that. So if we look through the full card for the channel, I got Gane, Vettori, Capilov, Mcdessie, Wood, Taha, Or no, not Taha. Sorry. Quinones. Imava, Magomedov, Santani, Figlak, Perez, and Gomi. And then for my active bets right now, I've got Eileen Perez for 1.5 units, Mcdessie for 0.5 unit by decision, Capilov for 1 unit on the money line, Vittori by decision, 3/4 of a unit. And the only parlay right now, Magomedov and Figlak at plus 107 for 1.5 units. Definitely going to be looking to add more to this card. Still see a lot of spots that I like, and we'll be looking to add more props as well once those come out. But that'll do it. Tried to keep it a little shorter for you guys. I know I rambled for a little bit, but go follow us on TikTok at HeyJivePicks. Leave a comment if you want me to start live streaming. I'll be looking into Twitch and other sorts. But I think that would be fun. Be good to interact with everyone and see your guys' input about the fights. I would like to get that going. So let me know if you guys would be interested in that. Leave a subscription, leave a like. Thank you guys for all the support, and we'll catch you in the next one.